These Labradoodle puppies are 14 days old, and today's video is going to be exciting as we discover, do they have their eyes open yet, or are they still sealed shut? In today's video, we're also going to talk a bit about important partnerships in your relationships going forward with your puppy. That'll be your vet, your trainer, and your groomer. And we're going to give you an update on all the things the puppies have done this past week, their weights, of course, and also update you on Mama Rowan, who you can see is not here right now. Hi, I'm Claire from Isle Labradoodles, and these are the puppies from our special effects litter. And oh my goodness, if you look at them, you can see all those special effects really starting to show through. We have a complete rainbow of colors here. We have chocolate, caramel, apricot, red, and ebony, and they are all just stunning. And Mama Rowan is getting very comfortable in her role as a mama. Maybe a little bit too comfortable. That's why she's not here right now. She's just in front of us, just out of camera, as she's looking through the glass doors at the other adult dogs who are just on the other side of the doors to her maternity room. Rowan is naturally curious. She's a highly social dog, and she loves to be involved in everything. She has a little bit of FOMO right now, where she feels like she's really got to be like, what's going on? What's missing? But what's happened today is one of our dogs is here to stay with us while their family is away on a holiday. And so that dog has just arrived, and Rowan is very curious to see who it is who's out there, as she doesn't know that dog. So that's who's sitting right outside the doors, and Rowan is having a bit of a staring contest. So this is natural behavior for a Mama Labradoodle. She is letting that other dog know that, hey, this is out of bounds for you. I'm here. I'm guarding my puppies. Don't even think about coming near them. Of course, what Rowan doesn't know is that Juno has absolutely zero interest in anything to do with her puppies. Juno is just sitting out there because we're in here, and because she just arrived, she's, oh, hey, did you forget? I'm here too. Are you coming back out? That's all that's going on. But Rowan is very confident and doing really well as a mom. She is not having any troubles spending brief periods of time away from her puppies. She's even taken a couple of her meals in the doodle den with our other dogs. We let her decide where she wants to eat and if she wants to do that or not. Sometimes it's, nope, got to get back to my babies right this second. Other times it's, oh yeah, hey, I want to hang out and be part of the larger group. Now, you'll remember when Rowan and Anise were in here together, there was lots of bickering between the two of them. Often we could hear Anise growling and barking at Rowan, and Rowan was fairly quiet. So Anise moved into the doodle den with her puppies a few days ago. And it's funny, but now the two moms get along beautifully. So in the doodle den, they interact. There's no issues unless Rowan gets too close to Anise's babies. And it doesn't matter if it's Rowan or any of the dogs. Then Anise is right there playing interference and letting everybody know, off limits. Back away. But they are able to be in the house together, enjoy time together, and swap stories about motherhood and all of their babies. So it's really nice when that happens. When we move Rowan's puppies into the doodle den now, we know that the two girls will be able to be in sight of one another, and there won't be any issues. So now these little kids, what have they been up to this past week? Well, Rowan's doing a bit better job on cleaning up after her puppies, although she still sometimes misses. We'll see here that Mr. Blue, she tried to clean up his bum, but there's a bit of poop stuck to it here. So we'll give him a little bit of a bath after the video and get that cleaned up off of him there. But she did do a good job of trying. She is keeping them spotlessly clean. You can see that her room is clean. We have done nothing here in preparation for the video. This is how she's kept her bed. So it's not like when the puppies were first born and she didn't quite understand her role in terms of the sanitation duties, if you will. She's also, you can see, feeding them all. Now last week, lots of the puppies didn't make their doubling their birth weight milestone. But if you look now at the width here of like yellow collar, or over here at this beautiful, beautiful tummy that green collar's got, you can see that everybody has filled out quite nicely. Same as brown collar. I still got a couple of thinner type ones, red collar here and silver collar. They're both a little bit lighter frame in the body, but that's more by virtue just of their body type. I wish I had that frame, but unfortunately I don't. Rowan herself is a mid-framed type girl. She's not one of our heftier girls like Spirit is, for instance, but she's not one of our really light frame girls. She's just very well proportioned, which is of course ideal. Now, many people often wonder, in a group like this, how are we going to know which of these puppies will be small when they grow up and which ones will be towards the top range? Well, the truth of the matter is that we can never say with any absolute certainty. What we can do is go by our experience, go by the size of the parents and the grandparents, and give you an educated guess as to what size the puppies will be when they come to maturity. There's other things that we can look at too, such as the size of the head, the size of the feet, the size of the body overall. But we can also find in many of our litters where we would have a puppy that was significantly smaller than everyone else, who ended up not being the smallest puppy in the litter. Conversely, many puppies who started off as the largest and ended up not being the largest in the litter. Generally speaking, whoever's the largest tends to remain that way. It's more likely that whoever's the largest in the litter will retain that ranking as an adult within the group, whereas the smallest one is quite often likely to move up into the middle range. So we do our very best. We do tell you based on our experience. We have all the weights of our puppies from infancy through to when they go home. Sometimes people share their adult dog weights with us, and we can look back at those records and go, oh yeah, in these lines, this is what we tend to see happening. But when we have very, very small puppies, we often are wrong when we think that perhaps they'll stay small. But we do have lots of them who end up being the smallest for the rest of their lives. So out of all of that, you can tell that there is no scientific way to say, oh, this one's going to be the smallest and this one's going to be the biggest because when they were 2 weeks old, they weighed X. It's all really just a matter of wait and see. In terms of their weight, a lot of that is going to depend on you and how you are feeding your puppy. Some people overfeed their dogs, some people underfeed their dogs. Most people tend to overfeed their dogs. And then of course, you could have a dog who would ideally be 18 pounds, but running around 20 pounds just by virtue of the fact that their family is giving them a few more groceries than they need. So what the puppies have done in this past week between week 1 and week 2, not a whole heck of a lot has changed. We'll see when we go through each of the puppies, have they opened their eyes? That's the biggest thing that they're accomplishing right now. Their nervous systems have developed to the point where they are able to accept, process, and deal with external stimuli. So the first thing is vision. And now when we say vision, keep in mind their vision is pretty blurry right now. They can see that I'm a blob and Rowan is a blob. And by the end of this week, they'll start to be able to differentiate that my blob is bigger than Rowan's blob. But mostly right now, the information that they get to process the difference between me and Rowan is that I smell different from Rowan. And that's really what they're using in their heads to be able to go, that's that thing and that's that thing. That one gives me milk, that one picks me up and does stuff with me. So they're not really able to recognize us yet by sight because their sight just isn't there. Now during this week as well, from between week 2 and 3, we're quite likely to see some of the puppies begin to hear. Sometimes their ears open up very rapidly after their eyes. Other times it still takes another 7 to 10 days before they can hear. Now the one thing that's really changed, and you can see it a little bit here, it's a bit crowded now with 9 of them and me in here, is they're starting to move around a lot more. Their muscles are becoming much more developed. Their body strength is getting to be greatly increased, which means that they're going to be able to start walking on all 4s quite soon. They can totter around, but they aren't actually walking. Once they start to become active and moving a lot, regardless of whether their ears are open or not, we will move them. 9 puppies in this small whelping box are not going to be able to have enough space to develop those muscles properly if we don't take them out and give them more real estate once they get to that point. So we'll be keeping a very close eye on their development this coming week. I anticipate that our week 3 update will be from the Doodle Den and they won't be in here any longer. But I've been wrong before. Generally, whenever I say something like that, the opposite happens. So that's what they're going to be doing over the next week. Rowan will continue to take her leave from them for a little bit longer periods of time. It won't be for until they're 5 weeks old that she starts sleeping away from them at night. But she will start in the Doodle Den in particular having the option to get away and wander around in the Doodle Den. She'll be able to go inside and outside into the Doodle Den enclosed courtyard area and just stretch her legs a bit more. Rowan is really keen to be able to go to the back of our property, which is where we have our 5 acres that she can run around in. Rowan does love to fly through the air, and she is missing the opportunity to do that. And the reason why we aren't letting her there yet is because now that we're in fall, because we're on Vancouver Island, we have a lot of dew and the rains have been starting. And because we live in a rural community, we have lots of deer, rabbit, quail, some bear that all pass through our area. And of course, as they do, they poop. And rabbits in particular carry a lot of Coxidia. And Coxidia is very easily picked up by a dog, an adult dog, and then transferred to the babies. Now for adults, it's pretty much always an insidious thing that is completely doesn't affect them in any way at all. It's a benign situation. About 35 to 40% of dogs, adult dogs, carry Coxidia at all times, but nothing happens to them. They're asymptomatic, and they can deal with it. But when you're an infant like this and your body's only this big, your immune system hasn't developed yet, it's a different story. Coxidia is very hard on a puppy, and if you don't notice it, it can kill them. It does need to be treated with antibiotics. But believe me, if any of the puppies get Coxidia, we will know because it has its own very particular odor, which is not particularly pleasant, and it's very strong. We'll also find that the puppies have wet bums, and they'll look like this, like Blue Collar's bum looks. This is not from Coxidia, of course. This is just from Rowan trying to have licked his bum clean. But you'll see this kind of staining on their bums, and their bum will be wet all the time. So that means a trip to the vet and getting special medication that will help the puppies deal with it. As long as they have that, they'll almost always be fine. Sometimes some puppies try really hard to die with Coxidia, and that becomes quite stressful. So we try to avoid that. So that's why we don't let Rowan out the back. We like to wait till the puppies are closer to 4 weeks of age before we let moms go out the back. If when they're 3 weeks of age, it hasn't rained for a while and the grass is all dry, then we'll send them back there and not worry about it as much. But when the grass is wet from rain, the poop tends to be dispersed more and everything tends to stick to their feet more, and that's the situation we want to avoid. Now it's time for everyone on this list. And by the way, we do still have a couple of openings in this group of puppies. So we hope that if you're interested in taking home a non-shedding puppy who's going to mature to between 18 and 22 pounds, that you go to our website and complete an application form. These puppies are going to vary in terms of the personality. Some of them will be very outgoing and able to do anything that a larger dog can do. Some of them will be quieter and enjoy a much more slower paced lifestyle. And they really are going to be able to adapt to pretty much any circumstance. Terrific with kids, absolutely wonderful choices for children. And these puppies all come from very strong therapy lines. So there's that to take into consideration as well. So now for your puppy, the important things for those of you who are lucky enough to be on this list to begin thinking about now are your relationships and forming those with a vet, a groomer, and a trainer. We'll be sending you a video about this with more information. That video was shot a few years ago before there was such a shortage of vets. So you have to adapt that to current situations. Nowadays, you are no longer fortunate enough to have the luxury of interviewing vets and choosing which clinic you would like to go with. Indeed, it's the other way around. Most vet clinics are not taking on new patients. So you'll first of all have to ascertain where it is that you are able to get your puppy into, and then go ahead, get set up there right away. You're going to want to book your puppy in for their first set of shots, which will be due 4 weeks after their wellness exam. That information was contained in your first email, that the subject line was special effects puppies arrive. So 4 weeks from that date will be their second set of shots. And also in your purchase contract, we have you take your puppy to your own vet 3 days after you take them home, so that you have an independent assessment to tell you that yes, they are in good health. Oh my goodness, Yellow, that was quite a wild little bit of activity there. It must have really had something going on in his brain. So you'll want to set those appointments up. But the first thing to do is find a vet clinic that you can get your puppy into. If you've had a dog previously, call that vet clinic and say, hey, I'm getting a new puppy, and likely they will still let you come. Now you may find that the clinic that you're going to is perhaps not number one on your list and you'd rather go to somewhere else. Get your name on the waiting list now. Hopefully then, within a year or so, you'll be able to join into that clinic. For your groomer, you'll want to go and start looking around. Best bet of all is post on our private community page. Say, hey, I'm getting a puppy from the calligraphy litter, the special effects litter I live in, and who do you suggest as a groomer in our area? Then go check the groomer out. Make sure you go in person. Make sure that that groomer understands that there is a difference between a Labradoodle and an Australian Labradoodle. And then for your trainer, if you're on Vancouver Island, for group classes for your puppy, we highly recommend Communicanine. They're located in Brentwood Bay and well worth the drive. They have trained I don't know how many of our puppies now. They're well familiar with the breed. Their program is excellent. So we strongly urge you to contact them, find out when the puppy class is. That will start within 5 to 10 days of you taking your puppy home, and sign up now so you don't miss out on that. Classes fill up really quickly. Now Taylor, who works for us and is a certified puppy trainer, has her own business, Positive Results, and she will be running classes in Victoria for both the calligraphy and the special effects litter together because they're very close in age. So that's another great place to do your puppy socialization. I recommend you do Taylor and Communicanine. Now if you're not on the island and neither of these are applicable to you, if you're in Nanaimo, Best Paw Forward is excellent. If you're in Courtenay, Canine Kind is who we recommend. If you're on the Lower Mainland or out of the province, again, post on the community page. There's nobody that we have that is living in an area where one of our puppies isn't already located. So you'll be sure to get some valuable information there. These are 3 really key people in your lives, and these 3 relationships all involve being really booked really quickly. So that's why it's important now to start booking appointments. With your groomer, you want to be able to have your puppy going in for what we call a Santa trim. That's where they're going to shave the hair off under their tail. Because Labradoodles are fluffy, that's part of the reason we love them. Poop can stick to their bum really easily. So we want to keep the hair under their tail shaved up close. And then the other thing you'll want to do is have the hair around their eyes cleaned up. So because their hair grows fast, you'll get hair over their eyes. It'll grow like this. Mostly it comes up from their cheeks. And when this happens and your puppy is looking like this, it's frightening. They cannot see you as well. They can't see anything. It's also bad for their eye development, but primarily it's frightening for them to look through hair growing over their eyes. So we want to make sure that we keep their face area around their eyes tidied up. So you can take your puppy to have that done with no bath or anything when they're somewhere between, well, around 12 weeks of age is a good time. They'll have had their second shots, and for that you take your puppy blanket with you. You put your puppy blanket, have your groomer put the puppy blanket on the table so their feet are not on the ground in the grooming parlor and they're not touching the table. That way they're not running a risk. Yeah, there's a small risk that there's something in the air that they could pick up. By 12 weeks, they're generally strong enough to deal with whatever that might be. You want them to be there though, and getting that done, you want to make sure that if you have not done something correct in terms of maintaining their coat at home, that you have them with a professional groomer who can say to you, by the way, you need to pay more attention here, there, or whatever might be the case. They can also demonstrate in person for you how to trim nails and how to get to the more difficult places for grooming if there are any issues with that. You can also check out our other videos here, and there is one on how to trim a puppy's nails. So you can take a look at that and know how to do their nails. If you don't like doing their nails, have your groomer do it. Many people don't like to do their dog's nails. My dogs go to get their hair done every 4 weeks, so I never have to do their nails because between the amount of time they're outside, running, wearing them down naturally, and being groomed regularly, there's no need for them to ever be done at home. I don't mind doing them, it's just I don't have to because of our particular lifestyle. So you want to book your vet, you want to book your puppy classes, and you want to book your grooming. So take a look at the videos when we send those out later this week, and then get working on finding those key people and booking those appointments. Now let's go through each of the puppies here and let us go and see where everybody is at. Everybody's weight is fantastic now. They did all double their birth weights within 10 days, so there was absolutely no concerns with that. After that first week, they really started to exponentially gain weight well. They just had enough behind them there that they were really cooking with gas there. And they're all doing splendidly. You can see the beautiful shine on all of their coats. Of course, it's most evident in the ebony there. And we just happen to have the biggest and the smallest puppy side by side there. And you can see the difference between the two of them. Little orange collar looks to be about half the size of yellow collar, even though that's not exactly right. And actually, it's not yellow collar who's the biggest, my mistake. Brown collar is the biggest. So you can see brown is even bigger than yellow. So if we just move them, you come to me. And you come over here, and let's see if we can get them to be side by side, and then we can get a really good visual there of the biggest and the smallest puppy. So there is quite a bit of difference. Brown is 726 and orange is 446. So not double in size, but almost. It's quite a big difference there between the two of them, and yellow is close behind as being one of the bigger puppies. You can also see, here's a good opportunity here. You can see how this ear is not open. You can see right here where the ear canal is, that is still completely closed, sealed shut. So what we'll start to see over the next week is this will start to open, and then eventually when they can hear, this will be completely open. And we'll look at that next week to show those to you. All right, let's go through the babes in birth order. We'll start with our firstborn, Mr. Blue Collar here. Hi, buddy. Hey, there we go. And let's see if we're going to see any eyes on Mr. Blue. Are you going to show us any eyes? So what I'm going to do is rub my face over their face. And that way, if they are inclined to show us eyes, if they're open, we'll see them. But Blue has not opened his eyes yet. He says, no, thank you. I'm not quite interested enough yet to see the world. Mr. Blue is now 536 grams. He's doing beautifully. I just love that gorgeous little beauty spot he has on his side of his face there. Such a pretty little handsome chocolate party baby there. So that's Mr. Blue. And then we have Miss Pink Collar Girl. She's right here in front of me. And she is this gorgeous caramel party girl. And let's see if she wants to show us any eyes. And she is going to, oh, there we go. They are just starting to open up, but there you go. She showed them to you. They're not fully open. There we go. They just started opening actually late last night, just before bed. I could see they were starting. And that is the first time actually I have seen them. Now you'll notice that her eyes are blue. All puppy eyes are blue when they first open, but they will not stay blue. The parties that are caramel, like she is, will end up with gorgeous hazel eyes. And now you can see she still doesn't have any color in her pads, but her nose is starting to fill in. And when I look at her nose now, she is an apricot. That nose is black. It's not brown. So she is an apricot party girl. Hello, beautiful. Hello. So why isn't she a red? She's not red just because of the hue of the color on her coat. It's a lighter color, so that is what we call apricot in ALD world. And Miss Pinky is 464 grams. There you go, baby girl. Then we have Yellow, who is right here, who was our model before. Yellow is our beautiful, black, probably sable, but possibly phantom girl. I still can't tell if this is sable or phantom. Too early, but I still am going to stand by my original prediction that she is a sable because of the way the pattern is here on her paws. And you can see her eyes are open. She too has beautiful big blue eyes right now. Her eyes have been open for a few days. And those eyes that she has are going to end up being a very, very dark brown, almost black, because the color around her eyes is ebony. Thank you, sweetheart. Next we have Red Collar. Now, Red Collar is right here. And let's see if this little girl has her eyes open yet or not. Now, red collar, we know, is a caramel. You can see she's showing us the pads on her feet. They are brown. We can see the color coming in on her nose. It is also brown. It is not black, so we know that she is a caramel. And her eyes are not open, I can tell you that. There's some slits happening there, so I'd say by Tuesday we will see her eyes. And Miss Red is 524 grams. Next we have our little pipsqueak orange collar boy, who is over here under blue collar. Excuse me, blue. I know that's a very nice pillow. And Mr. Orange is our little, as I said, pipsqueak, our tiny guy. Oh, look at the shine on his coat, and look at those eyes, and look at that beautiful white marking on his face. So this was the puppy who opened their eyes first in this litter, and he opened his eyes on day 10. So just because the puppy is the smallest doesn't mean that they're going to be the last to do things. This guy has been first for many things, and oh my goodness, he just has the shiniest coat. I love this little pipsqueak. And he's 446 grams. And then next we have purple collar, and purple's right here. Purple is a very pretty little flashy puppy with lots of white on the face, the chest, the head, and she also has her eyes open. And this puppy is going to be a red girl. So she has a black nose, black feet, and the color on her coat, well, it looks rather caramelly right now. We can see on the side of the ears that that's actually a beautiful deep red, and chances are that her color is going to deepen and darken and be a beautiful red as she matures, based on the fact of the coloring of her parents. And this little beauty queen is 564 grams. So you'll see, other than the biggest and the smallest, that the puppies are fairly consistent in terms of their weight. It's just a few grams difference here and there. Then we have green collar, who is this pretty party girl here. Hello, greeny girl. Hey, that's so pretty. And green is going to be a caramel party, because I can see on her nose that it is coming in a brown color. And she says, no thanks, not showing you my eyes yet. These eyes I expect that will be open either tonight or probably more likely tomorrow morning. The slits are really definitely there. We can see them, so they're going to be opening very quickly. And green collar is 556 grams. And then over here we have silver collar. Silver collar is our chocolate chocolate sable girl. Hi, Bibs. And we do know for sure that she is a sable. I can tell by the way her coat looks. So she's going to change color, and we'll have some variation in how she looks as she gets older. And her eyes are halfway there. You won't probably be able to see anything because they're just still slitted, but the slit is halfway through the eye, so it is definitely on the way to being open. Likely tonight or first thing tomorrow, and we'll see this pretty girl's eyes. And Miss Silver is 454 grams. And then last but not least is our giant. And even though he's not really a giant, he's not ever going to be some great big dog or anything. This is Mr. Brown Collar, who is our other chocolate sable. And he says, oh yeah, I got eyes. I'm showing you my great big blue eyes. Oh, and I'm going to have a beautiful yawn. And aren't I just the most handsome thing in the world? He's such a flashy guy with all those beautiful different hues. He looks very appropriate for fall with all the luscious brown and the gorgeous copper tones. Thanks for showing the eyes before you fell back asleep. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Mr. Brown is 726 grams. So that's all the kids, and that's our update for this week. We hope you enjoyed the video, and we hope you'll share with your friends that we do have availability in this litter, and that is for Canadians or Europeans that are looking for a puppy, but primarily Canadians. Europeans would only be if you were a breeder, and I'm afraid we are no longer able to offer our puppies to anyone located in the US. So we hope to see some applications coming in for these puppies. We love it when our families are part of the program right from the get-go, and we love to share our Labradoodle love with you. Thanks so much for watching.